Hi, welcome to Coaster Mania. I'm Micah, and today I'm following up on a promise from a previous video. I'm going to be covering some notable defunct roller coaster manufacturers. Going through the list on RCDB of defunct manufacturers leads to a ton of different companies, and would prove to be too much to present in a timely manner, so I picked some of the more notable ones to focus on. So let's make like a banana and split on into this video. If you haven't seen it yet, be sure to check out the first video I did on this topic that focuses on the more notable active roller coaster manufacturers. Some of these are harder to find than others, and some have a fairly small amount of actual installations, but it's still nice to talk about some of them due to their notable achievements. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Who the heck used to make roller coasters? Introducing the one, the only, the janky and the classic Arrow. Arrow Developments, an American company made by wonderful American men, part of the greatest God-blessed American generation, can be considered responsible for what the amusement industry does today. Founded in 1945, Arrow got their start by fabricating machine tools and replacement parts for trucks. Shortly after this, Arrow went on to create small-scale amusement rides, which eventually caught the eye of Walt Disney. This led to a majority of Disneyland's opening attractions to be built by Arrow, including their first major roller coaster, Matterhorn bobsleds. This coaster is special because it is the first modern roller coaster made using tubular steel track. From here, Arrow went on to excel with their extremely popular ride model, the Mine Train. I really can't do this story the justice it deserves, and if you're any bit interested in learning more about this company, then be sure to check out the Legacy of Arrow documentary hosted right here on YouTube. Throughout the years, Arrow would develop coasters that broke new ground. This would include ride models such as their suspended swinging models, their looping coasters, and finishing off their run with the insanity of the Fourth Dimension coaster. They even built the first coaster to reach the 200-foot height record, Magnum XL 200 at Cedar Point. This is in reference to a full-circuit coaster, not a shuttle coaster. That title goes to Moonsault Scramble at Fuji-Q Highland. This ride arguably started what were known as the Coaster Wars, which saw multiple parks building bigger and badder rides, all in the name of having the largest coasters out there. At every turn, Arrow displayed innovation, but this wasn't all perfect. One notable aspect of most of their designs is what is known as Arrow Jank, which comes in the form of the Arrow transitions. You see, Arrow coasters were designed with the axis of rotation centered around the spine of the track. This meant that transitions were jarring and could lead to a lot of discomfort for riders. While it is uncomfortable, these transitions do seem to add to a certain level of charm as well. Arrow Track is somewhat unique in that it has a skeletonized look about it, with cross ties that come out and around the rails on their sides. Unfortunately, due to the mounting costs of R&D, X2 would be their last, and spelled the end of this once amazing roller coaster manufacturer. This wooden roller coaster manufacturer was one of the final stepping stones for the major wooden manufacturers that exist today. Custom Coasters International, or CCI, was founded in 1991 by Denise Din Larrick, her brother Jeff Din, and her husband Randy Larrick. These three went on to add a few other members to their team before breaching into the world of manufacturing large-scale wooden roller coasters. CCI is one of the few manufacturers that I'm talking about in this video that still has several operating roller coasters. Rides such as Tremors at Silverwood, Ghost Rider at Knott's Berry Farm, and Legend at Holiday World are good examples of coasters built by CCI that are all popular in their own right. It is a bit difficult to distinguish wooden coasters built by CCI from other manufacturers due to the fact that they use the extremely common trains built by Philadelphia Toboggan Company, and their layouts aren't the most unique either. A coaster built by CCI often features a layout filled with plenty of pops of airtime and flat, mostly unbanked turns which inflict high lateral G-forces on its riders. A lot of these coasters have stood the test of time and continue to remain fairly smooth, but this is in large part due to the maintenance teams at each of their respective parks. While I'm not completely certain as to why, CCI went out of business around 2002 due to some internal issues. This happened during the construction of New Mexico Rattler at Cliffs Amusement Park. The park itself was left with an incomplete ride, so they had to pick up the pieces and finish it themselves. It should be noted though that the designers present at CCI all moved on to different things. A small group of them went on to form their own company, Gravity Group. A different group went on and formed Great Coasters International, and the rest pursued careers in other fields. While CCI itself is no more, its legacy still lives on. Some other notable examples of theirs are Shivering Timbers at Michigan's Adventure, Cornball Express at Indiana Beach, and Boulder Dash at Lake Compounce. From the ashes of Aero came D.H. Morgan Manufacturing. It was somewhat inevitable, but man was this company short-lived. Being founded in 1983 by the son of Aero's co-founder, Ed Morgan, and then going defunct in 2001 due to an acquisition, there aren't a whole lot of rides that were built by this company. Their first major coaster was Wild Thing at Valley Fair, which seemingly took a lot of inspiration from Aero with Magnum XL 200. Morgan built other coasters that would follow a similar design philosophy, such as Steel Force at Dorney Park and Steel Eel at SeaWorld San Antonio. These coasters feature trains with large cars that have 3 rows of 2 across seating. While they are extremely high capacity, often their rides don't prove to be extremely popular due to how unremarkable their layouts can be. While rides like Steel Force have the height, speed, and overall length to trade blows with the best, it ends up being a rather forceless experience that doesn't do much other than provide a nice breeze. This is unfortunately common with their coasters. An easy way to distinguish coasters built by Morgan is their track. The design of their track looks extremely similar to Aero track. The biggest difference is the design of the cross ties. Morgan track has cross ties which are much more rounded than what is found on Aero coasters. When talking about Morgan, you can't go without mentioning their most notable coaster, Steel Dragon 2000 at Nagashima Spa Land. This 318-foot tall behemoth currently holds the record for the world's longest roller coaster at over 8,100 feet long. This coaster is truly one of a kind. So what happened at this company? It was bought out by Chance Rides in 2001 and still somewhat lives on through them. After helping design and build the Beast at Kings Island in 1979, Charles Dinh decided to enter into the world of roller coaster manufacturing with a focus on wooden roller coasters. In 1983, he decided to found Dinh Corporation. After working on small projects such as relocating coasters, such as Phoenix at Knoebels, they moved on to building some truly notable coasters of their own. This included Hercules at Dorney Park, Mean Streak at Cedar Point, and Texas Giant at Six Flags Over Texas. Both Mean Streak and Texas Giant were treated with the hybrid conversion by RMC, and Hercules went defunct in 2003. A lot of Dinh's coasters were large in scale and provided a ton of thrills for riders, but sadly would often get too rough to be kept open. They were very popular due to their incredible ride experiences and large-scale thrills. Unfortunately, it is difficult to find many of their wooden coasters today due to this fact. However, it is worth noting that after its closure in 1991, Dinh's daughter went on to help form CCI. Some other notable designs of theirs include Predator at Darien Lake, Wolverine Wildcat at Michigan's Adventure, and Thunder Run at Kentucky Kingdom. Welcome to the short-lived knockoff B&M, Giovanola. This Swiss subcontractor turned extremely short-lived manufacturer only has 3 roller coasters to their name. Founded in 1888, this company started out as a steel manufacturing company. In 1980, it was signed on as a subcontractor for Intamin to build their roller coasters. This is around the time when Claude Mabillard and Walter Bolliger developed their signature track design, which was featured on rides such as Z-Force at Six Flags Great America. In 1987, these two left the company to form their own, now known as B&M. In an attempt to continue working in the amusement industry, Giovanola opened their own business, Giovanola Amusement Rides Worldwide. Under this company, they opened only 3 roller coasters total before they went bankrupt in 2001. These would be Goliath at Six Flags Magic Mountain, Titan at Six Flags Over Texas, and Anaconda at Gold Reef City. All 3 of these rides feature track identical to what is found on coasters built by B&M, so they might be slightly more difficult to distinguish. Anaconda was the first of theirs, opened in 1999, and notably features a layout somewhat similar to the Batman clones developed by B&M. Spawned from a small company in Ohio which started making miniature trains, the National Amusement Device Company often worked with prolific designer John A. Miller to build large-scale wooden coasters far and wide. Opened in 1919, this company started out small by building small-scale family attractions for amusement parks. Something interesting about this company is the design of their trains. They often had weird designs on the lead car, and in at least one case had working headlights, such as the one found on Big Dipper at Camden Park. One other notable achievement of theirs was building what was once known as the world's largest roller coaster, Montaña Rusa at La Feria Chapultepec Mágico, which opened in 1964. This coaster was technically 8,000 feet long and had a max height of 110 feet. Coasters built by this company are not present at a lot of the larger amusement parks in the US, so they can tend to be more difficult to find. There are currently only 2 of their coasters operating to this day. These are both located at Camden Park in West Virginia. This segment is somewhat unique in that I'm combining 2 separate defunct manufacturers, but for good reason. Both Pinfari and SDC make some of the same ride lineups. They are both most well known for their traveling fairground coasters. Chances are, if you've been to a county or state fair, you've ridden one of these. Pinfari was founded in 1926 and got their start manufacturing Dodgem cars and buildings. SDC was founded in 1960 and featured a similar start. The reason why I'm grouping them together is the similarity of their layouts. Based on the exact same design, the Pinfari Zyklon and the SDC Galaxy models are some of the most widespread roller coaster models in the world. With over 160 installations between the two, these are not all that difficult to find. They are so popular due to their compact layouts and low cost to run and maintain. Something of note, Pinfari in its later years did actually start experimenting with other designs, such as their inverted coaster models. Some of these even featured inversions. So, wanna buy a rough wooden coaster? Want a lawsuit free of charge? You like injuring your park guests?
Psst, buddy, wanna buy a watch?
Don't buy us, we're fakes.
This company was responsible for a few coasters in the US and a few elsewhere. That's the most notable positive thing I can think to say about them. Founded in 1979, their first major installation was Rattler at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. Just look at that. The ride sways so much. This was a common theme on some of their coasters: poorly designed support structures. While it was huge, it quickly gained a reputation for being extremely rough. This coaster was reimagined in the year 2012 as a hybrid by RMC. To sum up what an RCCA is like, you just have to look at the history of this ride in particular, and of their other most notable ride, Son of Beast, formerly at Kings Island. Rattler started out as a headlining attraction at Fiesta Texas and had an immense 166-foot drop. This drop was reprofiled multiple times in order to reduce forces at the bottom of it. The sudden transition at the bottom of this first drop proved to be incredibly uncomfortable and most likely was the cause of some minor injuries. After all was said and done, this drop was only 124 feet tall. Let's move on to their biggest failure, Son of Beast. This ride was opened as the first hyper wooden roller coaster, standing at a record-breaking 218 feet tall. It also was notable for the fact that it features a vertical loop. In its opening year, the ride had a fairly good reception, but shortly after opening, started to gain a really bad reputation due to how rough it was. This coaster had at least one notable accident where broken supports led to several injuries to its riders. In response to this accident, Kings Island sued RCCA, and the rest is history. In 2005, this company folded after only building a total of 6 roller coasters. I consider it an act of mercy. In my previous video on this subject, I continuously mentioned roller coasters that had Schwarzkopf-inspired track. This is that company I was referencing. Whenever I go to a theme park and see a Schwarzkopf, I get incredibly excited, as these are becoming more and more rare as they age past their service lives. Schwarzkopf was started by Anton Schwarzkopf around 1957. This company had its roots in manufacturing trailers built to transport circus equipment. By 1957, Anton built his first roller coaster, which was a traveling coaster. In the 60s, Schwarzkopf would debut several ride models, including the Wildcat, which is very similar to the Zyklon and Galaxy models, but viewed much more favorably due to its more thrilling ride experience. Other notable models from Schwarzkopf include the Jetstar 2 model. In 1976 was when things got really interesting. This is when Revolution at Six Flags Magic Mountain was first opened. It was the first modern roller coaster to feature a vertical loop, but this record was quickly overshadowed by Corkscrew at Knott's Berry Farm, which opened shortly before Revolution did and featured 2 inversions rather than just one. Schwarzkopf coasters are arguably most well known for their vertical loops. These loops are often circular and provide some incredibly strong forces throughout. Some of the most common models that feature these are their shuttle looping coasters and their Silver Arrow models. One of the most important models of these looping coasters would have to be Olympia Looping, in my opinion at least. This is one of the largest and most intense traveling coasters ever built, and goes to show the insane level of craftsmanship Anton Schwarzkopf had. This company unfortunately went out of business in 1995 when Anton passed away. Despite their age, these coasters are still incredibly smooth and some of my favorite ride models out there. So let's talk about Two-Face. I mean Togo. For the longest time, Togo was the arrow of Japan. Then, when they tried to breach into US markets, well, they met their end pretty shortly after. I feel like I'm cheating a bit with this one, as this company is still technically in business, but only because it was recently revived and seems to be attempting to make a comeback. This company was founded in 1935 and got its start making various small-scale attractions. Their first installation is roller coaster at Hanayashiki, and surprisingly, this coaster is still operating to this day. Later on, it began selling roller coasters to Russia, Cuba, and China. Many of its early coaster models that saw worldwide installations was their stand-up model, such as Freestyle at Cavallino Mato. This model was popular with many parks and helped create interest in their rides in the US. Later on, they developed the Ultra Twister ride model, which proved to be incredibly popular. This ride model did a good job at providing an early rendition of Heartlining and was an incredibly popular model for park guests, but only saw a few installations. What ultimately led to their downfall was the failure of Windjammer surf racers at Knott's Berry Farm. Obviously, there is more to this story, but I want to keep it simple. You see, in Japan, Togo coasters were incredibly smooth and reliable. This legacy would not carry over into their US branch, however. This coaster, despite its name, could not operate with even a mild breeze, which led to Togo being sued. It also was incredibly rough. This lawsuit ended up bankrupting the company and spelled their demise. Recently, however, in 2018, Togo announced a comeback with a potential redesigned stand-up coaster model. It is yet to be seen if this actually comes to fruition. I, for one, am very curious and wouldn't mind seeing a return of this once great manufacturer. Maybe we can give them a second chance. There are several more manufacturers I could talk about here, but I also didn't want this video to be several hours long, so I figured the ones I mentioned are the coasters you'll most likely come across these days as still operating. If you feel like there were any major manufacturers that I missed, feel free to let me know, as I have one more video coming in the same style that will talk about some of the smaller, less prolific manufacturers. Also, if you haven't seen it yet, be sure to check out the first video I did on this topic on currently active manufacturers. If you like this one, you'll surely enjoy that video too. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like and comment below and hit that bell icon. Special thanks to our Patreon supporters Nathan Martin and Future Collective. $1 a month helps me bring even more content to you guys, and I even have some exclusive content coming, so check it out. Check the description below to find links to the rest of our pages. Thanks for watching the video, and ride on, Coaster Maniacs!